owl, then beat his breast. Athwart the cedars whirred and flew. "There's death in our handsome captain's eye," murmured the captain's crew. And long they lay upon their oars, and cursed the silence and the chill. They cursed the wail of the rising wind, for no man dared be still. Of ribald songs they sang a score, to stifle the midnight sobs and sighs. They told wild tales of the Indian Main, to drown the far-off cries. But when they ceased, and Captain Kidd came down the sands of Dead Neck Isle, "My lady wearies," he grimly said, "and she would rest awhile. I've made her a bed, 'tis here, 'tis there, and she shall wake, be it soon or long, where grass is green and wild birds sing, and the wind makes undersong. Be quick, my men, and give a hand. She loved soft furs and silken stuff, jewels of gold and silver bars, and she shall have enough. With silver bars and golden ore, so fine a lady she shall be, a many suitor shall seek her long, as they sought Penelope. And if a lover would win her hand, no lip e'er kissed a hand so white. And if a lover would hear her sing, she sings at owlet light. But if a lover would win her gold, and his hands be strong to lift the lid, 'tis here, 'tis there, 'tis everywhere, in the chest," quoth Captain Kidd. They lifted long, they lifted well, ingots of gold and silver bars, and silken plunder from wild, wild wars, but where they laid them no man can tell, though known to 1,000 stars. But the ordinary Kidd stories are very much the same, and depend a good deal upon the character of the coast and upon the imagination of the people who live in that region. We will give one of them as a sample, and from this a number of very good pirate stories could be manufactured by ingenious persons. It was a fine summer night late in the 17th century. A young man named Abner Stout, in company with his wife Mary, went out for a walk upon the beach. They lived in a little village near the coast of New Jersey. Abner was a good carpenter, but a poor man. But he and his wife were very happy with each other, and as they walked toward the sea in the light of the full moon, no young lovers could have been more gay. When they reached a little bluff covered with low shrubbery, which was the first spot from which they could have a full view of the ocean, Abner suddenly stopped and pointed out to Mary an unusual sight. There, as plainly in view as if it had been broad daylight, was a vessel lying at the entrance of the little bay. The sails were furled, and it was apparently anchored. For a minute Abner gazed in utter amazement at the sight of this vessel, for no ships, large or small, came to this lonely bay. There was a harbour 2 or 3 miles farther up the coast, to which all trading craft repaired. What could the strange ship want here? This unusual visitor to the little bay was a very low and very long black schooner, with tall masts which raked forward, and with something which looked very much like a black flag fluttering in its rigging. Now the truth struck into the soul of Abner. "Hide yourself, Mary," he whispered. "It is a pirate ship." And almost at the same instant the young man and his wife laid themselves flat on the ground among the bushes. They were very careful, each of them, to take a position which would allow them to peep out through the twigs and leaves upon the scene before them. There seemed to be a good deal of commotion on board the black schooner, and very soon a large boat pushed off from her side, and the men in it began rowing rapidly toward the shore, apparently making for a spot on the beach not far from the bluff on which Abner and Mary were concealed. "Let us get up and run," whispered Mary, trembling from head to toe. "They are pirates, and they are coming here." lie still," said Abner. "If we get up and leave these bushes, we shall be seen, and then they will be after us. Lie still, and do not move a finger." The trembling Mary obeyed her husband, and they both lay quite still, scarcely breathing, with eyes wide open. The boat rapidly approached the shore. Abner counted 10 men rowing and 1 man sitting on the stern. The boat seemed to be heavily loaded, and the oarsmen rowed hard. Now the boat was run through the surf to the beach, and its 11 occupants jumped out. There was no mistaking their character. They were true pirates. They had great cutlasses and pistols, and one of them was very tall and broad-shouldered and wore an old-fashioned cocked hat. "That's Captain Kidd," whispered Abner to his wife, and she pressed his hand to let him know that she thought he must be right. Now the men came up high upon the beach, and began looking about here and there as if they were searching for something. Mary was filled with horror for fear they should come to that bluff to search. But Abner knew there was no danger of that. They had probably come to those shores to bury treasure, as if they were great sea turtles coming up upon the beach to lay their eggs, and they were now looking for some good spot where they might dig. Presently the tall man gave some orders in a low voice, and then his men left him to himself and went back to the boat. There was a great pine tree standing back a considerable distance from the water, battered and racked by storms, but still a tough old tree. Toward this the pirate captain stalked, and standing close to it with his back against it, he looked up into the sky. It was plain that he was looking for a star. There were very few of these luminaries to be seen in the heavens, for the moon was so bright. But as Abner looked in the direction in which the pirate captain gazed, he saw a star still bright in spite of the moonlight. With his eyes fixed upon this star, the pirate captain now stepped forward, making long strides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then he stopped, plunged his right heel in the soft ground, and turned squarely about to the left, so that his broad back was now parallel with a line drawn from the pine tree to the star. At right angles to this line the pirate now stepped forward, making as before 7 long paces. Then he stopped, dug his heel into the ground, and beckoned to his men. Up they came, running, carrying picks and spades, and with great alacrity they began to dig at the place where the captain had marked with his heel. It was plain that these pirates were used to making excavations, for it was not long before the hole was so deep that those within it could not be seen. Then the captain gave an order to cease digging, and he and all the pirates went back to the boat. For about half an hour, though Mary thought it was a longer time than that, those pirates worked very hard, carrying great boxes and bags from the boat to the excavation. When everything had been brought up, 2 of the pirates went down into the hole, and the others handed to them the various packages. Skillfully and quickly they worked, doubtless storing their goods with great care, until nearly everything which had been brought from the boat had been placed in the deep hole. Some rolls of goods were left upon the ground, which Mary thought were carpets, but which Abner believed to be rich Persian rugs, or something of that kind. Now the captain stepped aside, and picking up from the sand some little sticks and reeds, he selected 10 of them, and with these in one hand, and with their ends protruding a short distance above his closed fingers, he rejoined his men. They gathered before him, and he held out toward them the hand which contained the little sticks. "They're drawing lots," gasped Abner.